Well, I'm probably going to be roasted for this, but here's my Buffalo Bills 3-round mock draft. Yo ho ho, Bills Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Show. As always, your host, Dan Mitchell. Say that you're new here. I am an avid member of the Bills Mafia, and I regularly put out videos about the Buffalo Bills and the NFL. If that is your cup of tea, I highly recommend subscribing to this channel, and as always, smashing the ever-living out of that like button. The draft is literally 6 days away. Now, I know most of you are already trying to come up with an excuse to get out of work on Thursday and Friday to see exactly who the Buffalo Bills are going to pick, but now is a time for speculation. Now is a time for us to make guesses, make grasps of who we really want, but likely just end up being disappointed when Brandon Beane trades down, and none of these guys that I'm about to mention even possible to be drafted after that fact. Trust me, there is no surprise here that the Buffalo Bills have a couple of holes that desperately need to be filled, particularly linebacker. Some are saying DB, some are saying interior offensive line, specifically the guard position, and sleeper pick defensive tackles. If you don't believe me, just take a peek at our depth chart right now in that department. So I thought that I would go on ahead and hop on the trend. As many of you know, I'm not a really big college football kind of guy, so the majority of the research that I do into these players occurs after free agency is over, and then I give you my best potential fits. Well, make sure to click your heels, ladies and gentlemen, because I just completed a 3-round mock draft on PFF. We're going to dive right into it, baby. This is the 27th pick. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I understand Brandon Beane was talking to the media the other day saying that he is more than likely going to trade down.
If I was in Vegas right now putting money down, I would say if we were going to do anything, it'd be more likely to go back than go up.
And there's also some people out there that still think he's just blowing smoke and he is going to trade up and get somebody like Bijan Robinson. My day would be made, but I highly doubt it. So with that in mind, I just stuck at number 27, and the first person that I picked up for the Buffalo Bills was Jack Campbell. This guy stands at 6'5" and is a whopping 246 pounds. Since Tremaine Edmunds got the bag over in Chicago, that is one of our most glaring holes that we have on this roster today, and some might say that he would be a bit of a reach. Now, they're projecting him to go in the early second, mid-second, but say, for example, the Bills don't trade down, we stay at 27, we can't wait for the second round to grab this guy. In my opinion, if there's any reach on the face of the planet that I am going to agree with and applaud, it's gonna be for Jack Campbell. Now, when you look at this guy, he has an 87 PFF score for run defense, and he has a 92.9 score for coverage. That right there is something I feel like the Buffalo Bills needed, a truly well-rounded linebacker that can attempt to fill the shoes of what's going to be missing from Tremaine Edmunds. Now, the University of Iowa had an absolute incredible defense this past year, but he legitimately was the poster child. This guy was the top rated linebacker out of all Power 5 linebackers in all of college football. This is somebody that I think that could literally make an impact on day one. Just last year, out of 418 coverage snaps, this guy only allowed 238 yards. 238 yards. He's an absolute unit, and I can see this guy really making an impact and making the sting of Tremaine Edmunds go away and not feel as significant. Now, there are a couple of red flags from what I have read on the guy. Some experts are saying that his ceiling is very low. While he was a tremendous college football player, they're thinking that he really doesn't have a lot of room to take that extra step. He's already at the peak of his football capabilities. But I will take 236 yards off of 419 snaps any day of the week. Next up, some experts are saying that he might be a bit too patient in the run game, as in he's not the type of guy that's going to shoot up a gap and take a running back down for a loss. He's more of that sort of linebacker that literally sits there and waits for a running back to come to him, and then he ends up making a play, particularly when it comes into run defense. In my opinion, I think that's something that could easily be coached out of him, and so we're going to need to see a bit more aggression from him, especially since he's going to be going up against these NFL running backs like Derrick Henry, true power runners, and that just simply wouldn't cut it especially in the NFL, that's for damn sure. And so overall, once you account for his run defense grade, and so his pass coverage grade, I think that this is one of the best picks that we could possibly take at 27. Oh no, Dan, not another ad read. Trust me, you are going to thank me for this. Now, as many of you know, I work extremely long hours, 7 a.m. until I about pass out at 11 or midnight Monday through Friday. And you would think that I would be able to go to sleep and rejuvenate. You're absolutely wrong. My mind is still going a million miles a second, and for the most part, I'm staring at my ceiling until 3 a.m. Now, that is something that I have accepted for myself, but I needed to make a change. I needed to start taking naps, but once again, I can't nap either. Whether or not that it's my FOMO, or whether or not that I just can't get comfortable enough, or it's too bright, I have had no such luck until I ended up finding the Manta sleep mask. Now, little do you know, Manta truly believes sleep needs to be the #1 priority in order to achieve that particular level of success. Now, these things are ridiculously comfortable, and literally the second that you put it on, you feel like you're right next to Aaron Rodgers during one of his darkness retreats. I mean, look at this. Literally can't see and so you know what? I should probably apply to officiate in the NFL. Prerequisites right here. Now, Manta has several selections on their website. This particular is the Sleep Mask Pro. It's this company, and this mask has really been able to help me prioritize what is most important, and that is my sleep, so I can keep on giving you that juicy content, baby. So whatever you're doing, go to that link in my bio and make sure you put in the code DONMAFIA, and they're gonna give you an extra 10% off your first order. Trust me, you will not regret this. Night night, bitches. On to the second round, 59th pick specifically. The Buffalo Bills are addressing the offensive line by drafting Chandler Zavala. 6'5", 325 pounds. And so guy had a 73.4 run blocking grade and an 86.5 pass blocking grade. Now, I know a lot of people were obsessed with Osiris Torrance because of just the fact that he was a great run blocker, right? However, I am going to wait into the second round and grab Chandler right here based off of the interview that Josh Allen gave the other day, where he is starting to realize that he needs to be more of a pocket passer to preserve his health. And so although that we ended up picking up McGovern, who as of right now on the depth chart is our starting left guard, we really need somebody that can make sure that Josh Allen never has any sort of elbow scare for the rest of his damn career. And I genuinely think that this guy could be him. Last year, Zavala only gave up 4 quarterback pressures in 422 blocking snaps. Not sacks, 4 pressures. This guy is an absolute truck. Literally Fort Knox. Now, what makes it even more interesting is the fact that this guy played soccer and basketball growing up, and he didn't play football until senior year of high school. So started off in D2, and so eventually got scouted into NC State, where he just ended up putting up numbers, babe. And so according to my research, dude has elite athleticism, and although that he is known for his pass protection, his run blocking game, especially with a power run scheme, hello Damian Harris, is also absolutely elite. He's that sort of guy that can break into the second level and still make his blocks. In fact, when he was on the field at NC State last year, when he was playing, that team averaged 177 yards on the ground. I really think that with the addition of Damian Harris coming to this team with his power run style, this guy is going to be one of his best friends. Now, red flags are saying is that he is already 24 years old, he lacks a mean streak, whatever that means, and has great strength, but by no means is it elite. So, say for example, he's going up against some of the Aaron Donalds of the world, or very strong defensive tackles, he might struggle here and there. But overall, I think the value in the second round, his proven track record of protecting a quarterback, is with the cherry on top of being an asset in the power run game. I love the value here, and frankly, I patted myself on the back for this. Not sure about you. Round 3, we ended up getting Josh Allen, another weapon, and no, it wasn't once again a running back in the third round that would just turn out to be mid. We went the wide receiver category, and not only did we go with size, we also went for that home run threat, baby. And that just so happens to be a gentleman, a wide receiver out of Wake Forest, A.T. Perry. Now, when you're talking about a true DK Metcalf-esque sort of player, this guy is a gem in the third round. He stands at 6'3", 198 pounds, and has a proven track record of being a boss. The past couple of years, this guy has put down 26 total touchdowns in 21 and 2022 and over 1,000 yards each and every single one of those seasons. His specs are absolutely out of this world as well. He ran a 4.46 40, and they say that his broad jump was in the 98th percentile, meaning my dude's got some ups. Now, when you hear that, you probably think that he's a boss in contested catches situations. Bingo, you're absolutely right. Most scouts are going out there and saying that he has the ability and he is that receiver that has the grit to muscle away those contested catches and more than likely wins against 95% of any sort of DB. Now, I'm afraid when you hear a home run wide receiver, you think he's going to be one-dimensional. That is not the case. Most scouts are saying that his route tree is very, very impressive for where he is at his college career going on into the NFL. Just that big-bodied receiver that's a go-to that can literally out-muscle any DB. Now, red flags, there's literally going to be red flags for anybody that I mention right here, but some of them just so happen to be that it sounds like it takes him a while to get going as far as his explosiveness off of the line. It's basically meaning it takes him a bit to get up to full speed, so I could see him having some sort of struggles with some very handsy DBs. Think maybe a Jalen Ramsey. His drops were a bit of an issue, but it had nothing to do with his hands because from what I've been reading, he has tremendous hands. His drops were mostly blamed on lack of focus and concentration, essentially looking for the destination before watching the ball go all the way into his hands, something that I think could easily be coached out of him. And so last but not least, not the best blocker on the face of the planet, which is definitely a surprise because this dude is absolutely massive. But overall, I think that this guy, say that he does live up to the hype. So he's everything that we hope that Gabe Davis would be. I think that he would be really good on the outside, splitting snaps with Gabe Davis and really being somebody that we could rely on. So that is my 3-round mock draft for the Buffalo Bills. You know what? I'm actually very interested in seeing Bills Mafia's mock drafts on PFF or whatever platform you use. Do me a favor. Do one after this video and tweet me at realdanmitchell a screenshot of what you have put together. And you know what? I might even do a video just looking over your drafts and giving them a grade. This is one of my favorite times of the year. I absolutely love draft season. And so be on the lookout for a lot more draft content right up until Thursday. If you have nothing going on next Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, I will be live streaming literally the entire draft, all 3 days. So if you guys want to go on ahead and join me, subscribe to this channel so you can be notified. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.